Deep within the shadowed woods that border the city of Louisville, Kentucky, a forgotten monument of a bygone industrial age stands sentinel over a quiet creek. This is the Popelick Railroad Trestle, a colossal structure of weathered steel and timber that stretches over 800 feet in length and towers 90 feet above the earth. For more than 5 decades, this isolated bridge has served as the grim stage for a legend so pervasive, it has woven itself into the very soil and silence of the place. Those who live in its long shadow speak of it not with nostalgia, but with a wary dread. They tell of a resident spirit, a haunting presence known as the Goatman, a grotesque fusion of man and beast, whose visage is said to provoke such pure, unthinking terror that witnesses are driven to immediate flight, often toward a fate more final than the fright itself. The persistent thread through every account is its method, a sinister allure that draws the foolish and the brave out onto the iron tracks, perfectly timed with the approach of a relentless oncoming train. This archetype of terror is not born of Kentucky soil alone. Its roots delve deep into the oldest layers of human storytelling. Across millennia and continents, the figure of the Goatman has been a recurring specter in our collective imagination. In the sun-drenched hills of ancient Greece, he was Pan, a capricious but fundamentally benevolent deity of wild places and rustic music. Yet as these myths traveled the dark forest paths of medieval Europe, a corruption took hold. The guardian spirit mutated into a creature of malice and temptation, its form co-opted into the imagery of the devil, a symbol of base, instinct and spiritual corruption, whose explicit purpose was to ensnare the souls of the unwary. This ancient, shape-shifting fear successfully crossed the Atlantic. Across modern America, from the dense woods of Prince George's County, Maryland, to the shores of Lake Worth, Texas, reports surface of similar, hulking horned creatures spotted near lonely infrastructure. But the entity said to dwell at Popelick is distinct. It is not merely seen, it is blamed. Its legend is unique not for its bizarre description, but for its tangible, deadly toll. The local legend, as it is known today, crystallized from the mist of rumor on a single, chilling night in the summer of 1955. A troop of Boy Scouts, seeking wilderness immersion within earshot of civilization, made camp at the trestle's base. As a cold campfire dwindled, the night was shattered by a scream that defied classification. Neither animal nor human, but a raw, guttural shriek that seemed to rise from the ground itself. Looking up toward the trestle, several boys witnessed a tall, distinctly horned silhouette moving with an unnatural, loping gait along the moonlit tracks. Their sensible scoutmaster dismissed it as a trick of fog and fear. Dawn, however, delivered grim evidence, the savaged remains of sheep from a nearby farm, strewn across the hillside as if by immense strength, encircled by impressions in the mud, not the prints of predators, but deep, unmistakable clefts from cloven hooves of impossible size. From that morning forward, the story escaped containment. It was embellished, adapted, and personalized with each retelling. Sheep became cattle. A sighting became a chase, but the immutable core remained. A monstrous, goat-like sentinel claimed the bridge. The passage of decades did nothing to dim the legend's dark allure. It only burnished it into a dare. In December of 1993, a teenager named Christina Butts and a group of friends embarked on that very dare. Venturing onto the frost-slicked ties, the mood was one of nervous laughter. But as they crossed the halfway point, Christina's experience turned profoundly personal. A palpable magnetic pull seized her, and cutting through the silence came a clear, psychic whisper, her own name, called from nowhere and everywhere. In the next heartbeat, the world erupted in light and sound as a train bore down on them. The frantic scramble for safety turned to nightmare when Christina's foot lodged between two ties. A friend, David, turned back, desperately wrenching her free as the train's brakes screamed. They flung themselves over the side, clinging to the superstructure as the train thundered past, raining sparks and dust. Though rescued, the true horror emerged later in confession. David, too, had heard the whisper calling his name just before the chaos began. The legend reached a tragic crescendo in 2016 when thrill-seeker Rockle Bain, visiting the trestle with her boyfriend, seemed to fall into a trance on the bridge. Unresponsive to warnings or the growing vibration in the tracks, she was struck and killed by a sudden freight train. Her death, officially a trespassing accident, was forever marked by her eerily entranced behavior, mirroring the psychic whispers reported by earlier survivors. This pattern of incidents forces a confrontation with the central mystery. What is the Goatman? Believers are split between viewing it as a physical cryptid, a demonic entity that manipulates minds, or a psychological phenomenon where the bridge's own infrasound vibrations induce terror and hallucinations, making the legend a story we create to explain the unexplainable dread we feel in that location. A more poignant local interpretation suggests the Goatman is not a murderer but a guardian, whose terrifying manifestations are meant to frighten people away from the very real, lethal danger of the trains. Ultimately, regardless of its true nature, be it flesh, spirit, or folklore, the Goatman's influence is undeniable. It has claimed lives, shaped local culture, and transformed the trestle into a monument to mystery. The bridge stands, the trains run, and the stories persist. People still report hoofbeats, shadowy figures, and distant cries. Each new generation feels the inexplicable pull to climb the fence and walk the tracks, answering a call that defies logic. It is more than a story. It is a recurring echo in the darkness, a whisper that never fades, a legend that refuses to die.